G'day guys, and here for another homebrew. I call it a Wednesday, it's Friday today, but a homebrew weekday maybe. Been a real busy week for me, just got stuff going on, work, personal, that sort of stuff, so only getting a chance today. I've managed to get the day off work, which is fantastic, so thought I'd put another video up. I'm sort of getting a bit more regular and I'm getting a bit more interaction off people across my social medias, which will all be down below. So it's I'm enjoying it. Like I said when I first started this, I didn't know how long this was going to last, and while it's only been a couple of months, I'm actually enjoying doing it. I definitely want to get some more brew videos up. I find that especially view-wise, they get a lot more views than your homebrew stuff. Your Homebrew Wednesday videos. I think the Homebrew Wednesday videos are more for people like me and you, obviously, if you're watching it, where it's not all about just the brewing, it's just about the hobby itself, talking about beers, going through your process of beers rather than this is how I make it. I've got a few private messages about the Cerveza video. It wasn't filmed great, because obviously if you've watched it, you'll see there's a lot of footage of me turning around and with my back to the camera. I'm still getting used to how this is all going to be set up and working. I'm in the process of building a new PC, which is going to be a beast of a thing, mainly for gaming, but it's going to be great for video rendering and whatnot. So these videos at the moment take so long to process because my computer's not fantastic. The new one's going to kill it. I've gone really high end on it, but that's not really anything to do with brewing. So beers. The first thing I wanted to talk about is obviously my next brew, and I was talking in my last video about maybe doing a brown ale, or it might have even been the video before. Now I was contacted by someone who's been really helpful to me with my brewing and just commenting and subscribing and all that sort of stuff, is Tony Yates. I'll pop a link to his videos and his channel down below because it's a really good channel. He's a really nice guy and he's well worth checking out and subscribing to. I think he's got about 3,000 subscribers, so he's doing really well there. So definitely worth checking out. Now Tony suggested, essentially with the IPA that I did last few brews ago, I've pretty much got everything I need in essence for the brown ale. All I really need to change is change the grains that I use to a dark grain. Use 100 to 200 grams of a darker grain and swap out the USO5 to like a British sort of ale yeast, and use something, and again go to like a British hop, so go for like a East Kent Golding hop. I'm definitely going to try that next. I think I will actually 100% do that next video, so thank you very much, Tony. I'm definitely going to give that a go because I love IPAs, and I've got one, and I'm going to taste the one that I brewed previously in this video at the end. But I'm definitely keen to try other styles out, so I'll definitely go with that. I'm thinking of getting a new fermenter as well. I've got the one that pretty much all of you guys have probably got, the one that came with the Cooper's kit. I've got the newer one that's got the Krausen collar inside it and no airlock. It works on the sort of negative and positive pressures. It's okay. It's not let me down. I've had no bad results out of it. I do have another one with a screw-on lid. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. It's it's got the airlock and that on it, but there's the rubber seal around it's already starting to crack a bit. It was only a cheap one, so thinking of going with one of the sort of, I guess, bucket styles where the lid really clips on and you got like the rubber sort of bung in the middle with your airlock coming out. So I'm going to grab one of those. My homebrew shop's got 30 litre ones for like 25 bucks, including the tap and the airlock and everything. So I'm going to grab one of those probably when I do grab the stuff for that brown ale. The other thing I'm looking at, I haven't done a lot of looking into it. I've watched a few CraigTube videos on the ones he's done, is brewing some cider. My wife especially loves cider. She's from the UK, so they are really into their ciders over there. I lived over there for about 5 years myself and love cider. So I'm thinking of giving one a go. She doesn't really drink beer at all. She'll have one now and then, but our beer tastes are massively different. She's like a lager drinker, if she drinks, which is very rare. I mean, she'd probably have 3 or 4 beers a year, but she'd like a lager, whereas I'm more of an ale drinker. So she doesn't have any of my home brews. She tastes every single one I do. The IPA she's had a quick taste of and loves it. but I'm actually not that happy with it, but I'll go through that when I'm tasting it. So yeah, thinking of doing a cider next, so I guess I'll just have to have a think about how I'm going to do it and the process. I know my homebrew shop does have a few cider kits. They are sort of commercial kits though, and they're brands that I haven't used, so I don't know if they're any good, so I guess I'll have to do some researching as to if they're any good. But that's on the cards as well. The cerveza's going pretty well. I think it's basically ready to bottle. So I generally leave it, like I've said, 14 days. I haven't taken any gravity readings of it. I may take one, maybe today I'll go down and take one. It's down in the garage. But I generally just do 14 days in the fermenter, 14 days in the bottle. Generally gives you pretty good results. So I'm going to bottle that on the weekend. I have to prepare all the bottles. I use the brown, you'll see when I open the IPA, the brown pop top bottles, sort of the Kolsch style, but the 750ml bottles. But when you buy them, they're the bottles and you have to actually put the lids on them. They don't come with the swing pop top thing already on them, and that just takes a little while. So I've got to do that. So I'll probably do that tomorrow, because I've got to go to the airport shortly to take my parents. They're going away for a holiday. So I'll probably do it tomorrow and then bottle it on Sunday, clean everything out, and then the IPA should be pretty much ready. I'm going to see how it tastes now. It's been 10, 11, 12 days, so we'll see how it's tasting. But I'll probably have a 2-week brewing break, because I'm going to have a month's worth of process, like a month to sort of 6 weeks of beer available to me. And obviously I don't want to have my beer fermented and have no bottles to put it in, so I want to make sure I've got 2 dozen bottles ready so it can go in. I found on Gumtree, which for anyone not in Australia, it's just like a trading post, ad trader. People just put up stuff they don't want anymore. There's a guy near me selling 100 long neck bottles, so 720ml bottles. Not swing tops, but I have to cap them. But that was really tempting, because he wanted nothing. He wanted like $10 for 100 bottles. But I just don't want to get in that much of a production line that I have beer sitting in the bottle for 3 or 4 months, going past their prime. I want to just keep it on track, because I don't want to over brew. Essentially, is what I'm trying to avoid. I don't want to brew too much and then not have enough time to drink them in between batches. And it can also burn you out a little bit on a hobby if you're doing it all the time. So it's good to actually plan it. I enjoy the planning of what I'm going to do and the timing and that. So the Vasa should go in the bottle on Sunday. Now I'll get to when I was talking about, and again I'll touch on it a little bit later, the IPA. The only thing I'm not happy with is the hops. Very happy with the flavour, very happy with the colour, everything in it, the mouthfeel, everything is fantastic. It's just, there's not enough hop in it. Now I did, from memory, and I did an hour boil of Galaxy. I think it was an hour. No, sorry, it was Simcoe. And I don't think it was an hour. But anyway, I did Simcoe, and then for the last 10 minutes or so I used Cascade, sorry, I'm in a mess. So Simcoe and Cascade. It's just not hoppy enough. Well, it's hoppy enough, but not as hoppy as I wanted it, and not as hoppy as I was expecting. So again, Tony made a suggestion, and I have done this before on my beers, is dry hopping to get that real hop punch. So realistically, look, if I'm doing an ale again, when I do an ale again, I don't think I'm not going to dry hop. I will dry hop every time, I think. It's just, I find for me, I just get much better results dry hopping than I do not. I'll still hop the actual beer. I know in the liquid malt extract there is hops in it, but I will still hop it when I'm actually making the beer. But after a week in the fermenter, I'm going to dry hop every single time. I don't see me ever not. Obviously, in something like the Cerveza, you're not going to dry hop because it's not a hoppy beer. I suppose you could if you wanted to try it, but I'm not going to. But I think every ale where I need hops, I'm dry hopping. There's no question about it. I will 100% be dry hopping every single time. It's got to a no-brainer for me. That's just how I'm going to do it. And like I said, this beer tastes great, and it's just a shame because it was the first time of me using grains and all sorts of stuff. I'm just a bit disappointed that it's not as hoppy as I would have liked. But what can you do? It's still a nice beer. I'm going to taste it in a minute for you. And while I'm nowhere near a beer expert reviewer, I'm a pretty seasoned taster. And while we're all very biased towards our own beers, it's obviously... sorry, there's just a lot of people hanging out the front of my house at the moment. I'm still going to try and be as biased as possible, as unbiased rather. And like I said, I'm not 100% happy with how the beer's turned out, just because of the hoppiness, but I'm rambling a little bit now, so give me 2 seconds. I'm going to grab the beer, I'll open it up, and I'll get back to you with a taste. Okay, we're back. So just for those who aren't aware of what they are, these are the bottles that I use. So you can see they've got the pop top on them. They're just ideal for me. The less bottles, the better, hanging around. Anyway, I'm just going to pop this open. And a bit of smoke coming out. And let's pour away. So I'm really happy with the colour of it. Just get a bit of the head going. Okay. So there it is. I probably got a little bit aggressive on the pour to pull that head up. But yeah, I mean, it smells fantastic. It smells hoppy. It's not quite ready yet, I don't think. I don't think it's quite ready yet, but it's only been in the bottle for 10 days. So for a beer that's been in for 10 days, that's real good. The hops are there, just not as much as I wanted. It's really interesting. I mean, this is really the first. Well, it is the first time that. Hang on. This is the first time that I've actually used specialty grains in a beer. I've added hops to just about everything. It's the first time I've used specialty grains, and the thickness, I guess, that it gives the mouthfeel is great. Oh, it's really nice, really nice. I said it's not quite ready. There's still a little in the back here. You just get the tiniest hint of yeast, which is pretty typical when you're bottle conditioning, I suppose, because it's there's still yeast in there. It's still getting rid of all the sugars. Almost overflowed. That is so nice. That is such a nice beer. It's just missing that hop punch. You know, I just want that. Look, you all know what I'm talking about anyway. 90% of home brewers are hop people. That's why we do it. It's just missing it. It's there, and I was going for there, and it's there. But yeah, as you can see, nice colour. Obviously, can't really see through it at all, but you know, it's an IPA. I go for taste over clarity. The cerveza is actually quite clear. It'll be interesting to see how that bottles and conditions and cools, because that's already, when I'm taking samples of it, it's quite clear in taking a sample, which is good. But again, I mean, if I get given the choice 100 times out of 100, you're going to taste a good tasting beer. You're going to take that over. This one's clear. I've seen homebrew guys and they're making crystal clear beer, and I bet it tastes great, and hats off to them. For me, I'm just happy making a good beer. I initially started my home brewing, as you may have already heard, that it was because there was a beer in particular that really was hoppy enough for me. There was only one beer that I could get hold of commercially that I thought, yeah, that has enough hop in it for me, and it was $20 for 4 beers. So whatever country you're in, that's 20 Australian dollars. Do the conversions. That's not cheap. To put it into perspective, of like, you can get a 6-pack of a decent beer here for 15, 16, and it's just 20 for 4. It's just, I can't give someone $20 and get 4 beers back. So I thought I had a few mates who were home brewing, and they were saying how easy it is. It's so simple. So I thought it can't be that hard. I mean, the guys who were telling me about it, and so guys like me, and if they're happy doing it, then it can't be too difficult. So I jumped on YouTube. After a little while, probably a week or so, I actually stumbled across CraigTube, and that was that basically. Showed me how easy it really was. And for anybody who doesn't believe that it's easy, watch my cerveza video. All I edited out was the stirring. So when I was stirring to combine like the sugar or whatever, that's all I edited out, and the video is about 15 minutes long. It's basically like a live brew, from my fermenter being empty to being fully sanitized and the brew being done. It was like 20 minutes, and that's how easy it is. And again, this is extract brewing. It's not mashing. There's no all grain. This is just extract brewing, and for me, that's where it is for me. Again, and I know this comes up all the time, and everyone always touches on it, but if you're someone that likes cooking, and for me, if I want to cook, say ribs for example, I light up my smoker, I get my charcoal going, I rub my ribs, I get everything prepped, I do a lot of work on them, I pick out which wood I want to use that's going to complement the food. I'll get a good bed of coals going, I'll put my wood on, I'll get my ribs on, I'll smoke them all day. That is, I guess, similar in a way to all grain and extract brewing. If I'm having a normal barbecue, I'll get my Weber out, I'll fire up the coals, I'll cook it over charcoal. I guess that's all grain barbecuing. Whereas if somebody just chucks some steak barbecue, like just on a gas grill, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a different way of doing it. Some people don't have the time and the patience to do. I do. I don't have the time or patience to do all grain brewing. Someone else does. You're still getting a barbecued piece of meat. Anyway, enough on that anyway. I hope you've all got something brewing. I hope there's beer in your fridge. I hope you're having a great day, and I will speak to you all next time. Thanks very much, guys. Bye.